Well, we're back today talking finance with Gavin Martin from Cornerstone Wealth, and back on changes that are coming up in the May budget and the things that will affect us, some of us adversely. Gavin Martin, welcome back to 2020.
G'day Neil, great to be with you again.
Gavin, one of the changes that's coming in the May budget is the increase of the account balance size for treating super as lost. We've talked before about how you find any lost superannuation, but with the changes that are coming up, is that an incentive for us to revisit the reason why we ought to be just making sure that there's not lost super out there that should be ours?
Yeah, exactly. So the government's going to take over the management of any lost superannuation accounts. They previously said if there was an account, inactive account of $2,000 or less, then they'll take over the management of that. Now they're going to increase that to $3,000. So if you've got a balance that in your super that you haven't touched and hasn't had any transactions on, then the government's going to take over the management of it. So yeah, important that if you are unsure if you've got some superannuation accounts out there that you've forgotten about or unaware of, then go to the ATO's website, so the ato.gov.au/superseeker. You can put in your details and see whether you've got any lost superannuation accounts out there that you could potentially benefit from.
Gavin, how hard is it to do that search? Can you search for, obviously, your own lost superannuation if you have I guess you need a tax file number or something like that. But what about searching on behalf of a spouse or on behalf of your children and relatives to see if there is any lost super?
Yeah, the key there is to make sure that you have the details. So the key ones are your tax file number and your date of birth and name. I think they're the three main pieces of information. If you have those, then you can do the search. And then the next step is if you find something, then you need to, I guess, get the right signatures, etc., to claim that superannuation and get it rolled over into another account that you do have that is active. And
the biggest motivation there for some is going to be that if you've got lost super, if you don't claim it, then it'll be into the government's coffers.
Yeah, exactly. It will be in the government's coffers. You can always get access to it if you do find it at a later point in time. They will record that it is yours and they'll give you an interest rate equivalent to the inflation rate. But the other thing that happens in this case is that sometimes there are still some insurances that might be in place, and so you could have had access to some additional insurance cover or payouts as well. So it's not just the balance of the fund, but the benefits that are around it as well.
How long, Gavin, does the account remain inactive before the government can access that? Is there a particular time limit?
Not aware offhand exactly of the time limit, but it's somewhere between that 12 months to 3 year period. So it doesn't need to be that long that it's inactive for it to hit the register.
And if you were going to roll over superannuation, supposing you change jobs and you're all of a sudden faced with having a different superannuation fund that's looking after your super, how hard is it to do a rollover from one to another?
Well, it's a very simple process, and most funds will facilitate it for you. All you need to do is complete a simple form, and usually you also need, and probably the most difficult part of the process, is just having a certified copy of some identification. So a copy of your driver's license that's been certified to say that this is a true copy of an original document. Forward that off, and then it simply just gets rolled over into your other fund. So very simple process, but it's just one of those things that often gets put on the back burners and people get on with their lives. But if they do consolidate them, they can actually save in fees and can provide themselves a better outcome over the long term.
We'll remind listeners of the website to go to do that search in just a moment. But there's another connected issue when it comes to our superannuation and some changes too that are coming up in the May budget, and that is the contributions cap is changing.
Yes, so the current contribution cap, so these are the concessional contributions that are made up of your employer contributions, so your 9% employer contributions and any salary sacrifice contributions. That cap at the moment is $25,000 for everyone, so you can't exceed that cap, and if you do, you end up paying tax at the highest marginal tax rate. Now, as of the 1st of July, for those people who are over 60, that cap is going to increase from $25,000 per financial year to $35,000. So this presents the opportunity for people who are over 60 and still earning an income to save potentially nearly another $2,000 for the average income earner in tax by salary sacrificing the additional $10,000. So well worth considering for those people who are over 60 years of age. Or there might be scenarios where I've got a client currently who's in the process of putting an investment property on the market that's got a capital gain associated with it. We're going to defer that until July, so the sale of that investment property until July, so that we can claim a larger deduction and reduce the capital gains tax associated with it. So if you are over 60, that may impact you. If you're over 50 years of age, the cap, the $35,000 cap, is going to commence from 1st of July 2014, so phasing that in over time.
Well, there certainly are complexities when it comes to dealing with superannuation, and sometimes you're going to need to have professional advice as to your own personal circumstances when it comes to super, and the encouragement is there to check with your financial advisor. But Gavin, in this whole issue of superannuation, we started off talking about lost super. What is the government website where you can go to and do that simple search you were talking about to find any lost superannuation?
You can do it via the ATO website, which is ato.gov.au/super seeker.
Okay, so that's www.ato.gov.au/super seeker to find any lost superannuation. It's always a pleasure talking about these sorts of financial issues. They affect every one of us, Gavin Martin, and I'll point people to your website at www.cornerstonewealth.com.au. Gavin Martin, thanks for being with us again today on 2020.
Nice to be with you, Neil.